In the world of global music, very few moments can truly stop time. Moments that don't rely on big stages, flashing lights, or official announcements, but instead quietly capture attention through authenticity. Recently, one such moment emerged, a brief appearance, a subtle reaction, and a wave of curiosity that spread across the fandom within hours. Kim Taehyung's unexpected return into the public eye caught fans by surprise. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was subtle, almost unintentional. What followed shortly after was an equally quiet but noticeable reaction from Jungkook, a moment that many believe was never meant to be part of the spotlight. In this video, we'll take a calm and thoughtful look at what happened, why it resonated with so many fans, and what this moment represents in the broader context of BTS and their relationship with ARMY. Before the moment itself, there was silence. Not an unusual silence, but a noticeable one. Taehyung had been relatively low profile, focusing on personal schedules and individual activities. Fans, while always attentive, respected that space. There were no dramatic absences, no sudden disappearances, just time passing. For longtime ARMY, this kind of quiet is familiar. BTS members often step back to recharge, reflect, or prepare for future work. Still, many fans remained observant, not out of concern, but out of affection. The moment that sparked conversation was not planned as a reveal. There was no announcement, no formal introduction. Instead, Taehyung appeared briefly in a context that felt natural and unforced. The footage was not centered on him, yet his presence was unmistakable. Fans recognized him almost instantly, not because of styling or framing, but because of familiarity built over years. Within minutes, screenshots and clips began circulating, not in panic, but in surprise. Is that Taehyung? I didn't expect to see him there. That feels quiet, but meaningful. The tone was not chaos, but curiosity. What made this appearance memorable was its simplicity. Taehyung wasn't performing, he wasn't addressing the audience. He was simply present. In an industry often defined by precision and production, moments like this feel different. They feel closer, more human. Fans didn't interpret this as a major statement, but rather as a gentle reminder that presence alone can carry meaning. As attention grew around Taehyung's appearance, another detail emerged. In a separate angle or continuation of the footage, Jungkook was visible reacting naturally in the same environment. There was no direct interaction highlighted, no dialogue, no clear signal meant for viewers. What fans noticed was subtle, a brief change in expression, a shift in attention. It was the kind of reaction people have when something familiar appears unexpectedly. Importantly, this moment did not feel staged. Rather than drawing conclusions, many fans chose to simply observe. Jungkook's reaction was not dramatic. It wasn't exaggerated. It was calm, natural, human. This neutrality is exactly why the moment resonated. Fans weren't watching a performance. They were witnessing a real-time response point. One reason BTS continues to connect so deeply with audiences worldwide is their ability to remain authentic. This moment reflected that. Nothing about it felt forced. Nothing demanded attention. And yet, it was noticed. In today's digital world, authenticity often stands out more than perfection. The fandom's response was largely reflective and positive. Rather than speculation, many fans shared appreciation for seeing Taehyung again, a recognition of the quiet bond among members, gratitude for moments that feel genuine. The conversation focused less on theories and more on emotion. For many, it was comforting. BTS' journey has always been defined by growth, both as artists and as individuals. Members appear together and separately. They reconnect in different ways. They support each other quietly and publicly. This moment fits naturally into that story. It wasn't a turning point, but a continuation. Large announcements fade quickly, but small, sincere moments stay. This brief appearance and reaction reminded fans that connection doesn't require explanation. Sometimes, it's simply about being present, rather than asking, "What does this mean?" It may be more meaningful to ask, "How did this make us feel?" For many fans, it brought reassurance. For others, a sense of familiarity. And for some, a quiet smile. Taehyung's return did not need a spotlight. Jungkook's reaction did not need interpretation. The moment existed as it was, simple, real, and unplanned, and perhaps that is why it resonated, not because it was meant to be seen, but because it reminded us that authenticity doesn't need permission. Thank you for watching. If you appreciated this calm reflection, feel free to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. Point one important element, often overlooked in moments like this, is time. Time changes how people interact. Time deepens understanding. Time creates space for reflection. BTS members have spent years growing, not only together, but individually. Moments of distance are not signs of separation, but parts of a longer journey. Taehyung's brief appearance, followed by Jungkook's quiet reaction, reflected that maturity. There was no urgency, and no need for explanation, just recognition. And sometimes, recognition is enough. ARMY has followed BTS through countless stages, interviews, and behind-the-scenes moments. Over time, fans have learned to recognize body language, natural expressions, subtle shifts in attention. This awareness doesn't come from obsession, but from familiarity. When fans noticed Jungkook's reaction, it wasn't about creating meaning. It was about acknowledging a real, human response, a moment that felt honest. Point one of the healthiest responses from the fandom was restraint. Many fans chose not to overanalyze, not to speculate, not to demand explanations. Instead, they appreciated the moment as it was. This reflects a growing understanding within the fandom that artists deserve privacy, even in public spaces. Moments don't always need context to be meaningful. Support doesn't always come in words. Sometimes it's a glance, a pause, a shared awareness. Throughout BTS history, fans have seen how members support one another in subtle ways. This moment fit that pattern. It didn't announce anything new, but it reinforced something familiar. Performance demands attention. Presence simply exists. Taehyung's appearance wasn't a performance. Jungkook's reaction wasn't a message. They were present in the same space, and that alone resonated. In an industry built on visibility, presence without performance feels rare, and therefore meaningful. Many fans described feeling calm rather than excited, not overwhelmed, but reassured that connections remain intact. Growth doesn't erase bonds. Silence doesn't mean absence. This emotional response is subtle, but powerful. Breathips has never rushed their story. They allow moments to breathe. They allow time to pass. They allow fans to feel without instructions. This approach builds trust, and trust is why even the smallest moments matter. While headlines may focus on drama, fans often experience moments differently. Where media sees surprise, fans see familiarity. Where others see mystery, fans see continuity. This gap highlights something important. Not every moment needs interpretation from the outside. Some moments belong quietly to those who understand them. It's also important to clarify that what this moment does not represent. IT does not confirm plans. IT does not suggest conflict or resolution. IT does not redefine relationships. IT simply exists. And that simplicity is its strength. In a fast-moving digital world, stillness stands out. This moment didn't demand attention, it earned it. Through calm, through authenticity, through restraint, fans paused, watched, felt, and moved on. With appreciation, Taehyung's return did not need explanation. Jungkook's reaction did not need a headline. The moment was meaningful because it was natural. Sometimes, the most powerful reminders come quietly, without intention, without performance, and without words. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this moment with us. If you enjoy calm, respectful discussions about BTS and their journey, feel free to support the channel and share your thoughts thoughtfully in the comments. In today's digital era, almost everything is curated. Angles are chosen, words are filtered, moments are edited. That is why unplanned moments stand out so clearly. Taehyung's appearance and Jungkook's reaction were not created for impact, yet they carried impact naturally. This contrast is what made fans pause. It reminded many that authenticity doesn't require intention. The response to this moment showed how much the fandom has grown in the past. Moments like this might have led to loud speculation. This time, many fans chose reflection. Instead, they shared calm messages. They emphasized respect. They reminded one another not to overstep. This evolution reflects maturity, not just of the artists, but of the audience as well. Human connection doesn't always need conversation. Sometimes it exists in silence. Jungkook's reaction didn't explain anything. Taehyung didn't announce anything. Yet fans understood the emotional weight without words. That kind of understanding comes only after years of shared history. For a long-time ARMY, this moment wasn't surprising. IT felt familiar. They've seen quiet reunions, small glances. Natural reactions moments like this are part of BTS story, not exceptions. That familiarity created comfort rather than shock. Sometimes, showing up is enough. Taehyung didn't need to speak to be acknowledged. Jungkook didn't need to react openly to be understood. Presence itself communicated stability, and stability is something fans value deeply. There is a thin line between interpreting a moment and appreciating it. This moment invited appreciation. Fans didn't ask, "What should this mean?" They asked, "Why does this feel meaningful?" That shift in perspective made the discussion healthier. Trust allows silence to exist without fear. ARMY trusts that BTS will share what needs to be shared. When the time is right, BTS trusts that fans will respect moments that aren't meant to be explained. This mutual understanding is rare, and it was visible here. Not every moment needs to lead somewhere. Not every appearance signals a change. Sometimes, moments simply pass through our lives, leaving warmth behind. This was one of those moments. That Taehyung's return didn't ask for attention. Jungkook's reaction didn't demand interpretation. Yet together, they reminded fans of something simple and important. Connection doesn't disappear during quiet periods. IT rests, and when it appears again, even briefly, it feels familiar. Thank you for staying until the end. This video wasn't about breaking news or predictions. IT was about observing a moment with respect. If this reflection resonated with you, feel free to support the channel and share your thoughts calmly in the comments. Sometimes, the most meaningful stories are the ones that don't try to be stories at all.